In this video, we're finally dropping a underwater camera 1,200 feet deep, and what we saw down there was unbelievable. So without further ado, let's get right into this video. We start off our morning heading out of Hillsboro Inlet. Once we get out of the inlet, we make a 12-mile run offshore to our spot 1,200 feet deep. Once we got to our spot, it was time to start setting up our rig. The first thing we need for our deep drop rig is the underwater camera, and that's the most important piece. Once the camera is ready to go, we then attach one of these lights, and the reason you need a light is because when you're fishing 1,200 feet deep, it is pitch black down there. We then add on the camera, and once that camera and light are ready to go, we attach one more light, and like I told you guys, it's pitch black down there. You want to have as much light as possible or we won't be able to see anything with that underwater camera. We then take our deep drop rig, and today we were fishing this 4-hook rig, and that's just because out here when you're fishing 1,200 feet deep, you're mainly targeting those golden tilefish. Once I was finally able to untangle that deep drop rig, we attached it right to our camera. And when you're fishing this deep, you want to make sure you have quality tackle because these deep drop setups are extremely expensive. Now that our rig is ready to go, it's time to attach our weight. And luckily today the current wasn't too bad, so we decided to go with a 6-pound weight. But some days, depending on the current, you may need a 10-pound weight when you're fishing 1,200 feet deep. So all I'm going to do is take our little swivel and snap it right onto the weight. And once that was all ready to go, we have to do the last thing, and that's attach our bait. So today I decided to run a mix of baits. I rigged up some bonita chunks and some full squids just to see if that would help us catch more fish. Once our baits were all set, it's finally time to drop the rig in the water. Once it was dropped in the water, we start making our way down 1,200 feet deep. And this by far is the worst part about fishing 1,200 feet deep. It easily took us about 6 minutes to get down to the bottom, and on the way up, depending on the size of your catch, it can easily take you 15 to 20 minutes. And in a lot of our recent videos, people always tell me that fishing with these electrics is cheating. But honestly, if you were fishing with a manual reel this deep, it would take you hours to do one drop. But let me know in the comments below what your opinion is on fishing with an electric reel. After minutes of dropping, we finally are seconds away from hitting the bottom. And the target species on this drop was the golden tilefish. But in all honesty, the goal today was just to catch a fish 1,200 feet deep with the underwater camera recording. But we finally have hit bottom, and if you guys look on the bottom of our rig, you can see a golden tilefish already attacking our bait. And this by far was one of the fastest bites I have ever gotten fishing 1,200 feet deep. But when we hooked into this fish, the worst possible thing happened, and you guys are about to see exactly why. So we slowly started bringing this fish up, and now that we can see this fish a lot better, we can see that this is a nice sized tilefish. And today we actually tried fishing with this camera 1,500 feet deep, but that's when my underwater fishing camera exploded. So now that we know we can't take these underwater cameras any deeper than 1,200 feet deep, let me know in the comments below where you guys think we should drop the camera next. But we now finally had this fish right under the boat after our 15-minute wait, and this is where the worst thing possible happened. So now that we can see this fish from above, we can see this giant golden tilefish. But right when I thought we had him, he somehow shook right off the hook and was able to swim right back down to the bottom. And this was such an awful way to lose a fish. But we decided to give this 1,200 foot drop another shot. So we repositioned the boat back on our spot, and now it was time to rig up some fresh new baits. So I took out this full squid, and all I'm going to do is chop this squid into 3 good sized pieces. Once the squid was chopped into a bunch of pieces, I rigged it back onto our deep drop rig, and now it's time to make our way back down 1,200 feet deep. So we started our journey back down to the bottom, and drop number 1 was a fail. So hopefully on this drop we can have a little better luck. And let me know in the comments below what's the best fish that you have lost. So we are now a couple seconds from hitting the bottom, and if you guys enjoy these underwater videos, drop a sub. We are going to continue to explore what lives deep in the ocean. Now that we are seconds from the bottom, you guys can see it is pitch black. And that's why I mentioned earlier in this video that having a good deep drop light is so important. Now that we hit bottom, if you guys look over to the far right, you're gonna see these two green eyes swim right over to our top bait and absolutely slam it. So there that fish is, and he just crushed that top squid. The second I felt this bite, I tried waiting it out a little longer on the bottom in hopes of catching another fish, but sadly that didn't happen. So I didn't want to get too greedy. I decided to just start bringing this blackbelly rosefish up. And this is one of the worst things about fishing this deep. When you're 1,200 feet deep and you catch a fish, a lot can go wrong in that time span. Like you guys just saw in drop number 1, we brought that fish up 1,200 feet and then he came off right under the boat. And in my opinion, that's why it's so important to fish with an electric reel. Because if you're fishing with a manual reel 1,200 feet deep, you will likely only do one drop. And if something goes wrong on that one drop, your fishing day is skunked. So we finally now had this fish right under the boat, and you guys can now see that it's a blackbelly rosefish. And these blackbelly rosefish are some of the best tasting fish. They are just so hard to fillet. So once we had this fish near the boat, my brother came over to help me land him, and we were successfully able to land this beautiful blackbelly rosefish. So after landing this blackbelly rosefish, we decided to call it a day. We hope you guys enjoyed this underwater fishing video, and we will see you in the next Barjack's Family fishing video.